Everybody, we're here again for another Facebook Live session at the Elms Retirement Village in Torksey. It's a little bit different today. We've got a guest with us. My name's Tracy. I'm one of the managers here and owners of the park. And with us today, we've got Sue Strangeway, who's one of our awesome residents. And we've invited her to come along and tell us a little bit about her, where she comes from, what her decision process was about moving to the Elms, just to give people that are considering a move here a little bit more insight into who lives in a place like this. So Sue, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
My name's Sue Strangeway. My husband's Roy, and we moved here in 2015. It was a long process. It took us 2 years to decide, mainly because my husband did want to retire and I didn't. But we started looking at park homes. We thought it was a lovely way to retire. We thought it would be, obviously, it would release money, and also it would be a nice way to just spend the rest of our active retirement. We looked at lots and lots and lots of different parks all over the country, but we saw the Elms and we fell in love. And we came back over a 12-month period. We came back in spring, in autumn, summer, winter, so that we knew what it looked like. And I have to say, the grounds always looked fantastic. The lakes are wonderful, and we just fell in love with the wildlife, to see the canal when it's got its fish in it, to see the birds. It was just fabulous. And as we say, we kept looking and looking, but our hearts always came back to the Elms. And so we purchased here in March of 2015, and really just love it.
Great, we say 2015, so that's 3 years we've been here. And we were joking earlier, it seems like she's been here forever, but it's because Sue has become so actively involved in lots of activities on the park, such as running the minibus and things like that, that we'll talk about in a bit. But first of all, we can ask Sue, where were you before you came here? Where did you live? What type of property were you in? What were you doing? And what was the thought process in choosing here, in this type of housing?
Well, we lived in Kent on the Romney Marshes, which is actually 21 miles from Calais. And on a good day, I could see the town hall clock in Calais. There was the 21 miles of water in between, but that was beside the point. It was a beautiful place. It was quite rural. My husband and I were both funeral directors, and we worked in the village, or the town as it should be called, of Romney Marsh. We decided to move mainly because doing the job that we do, people will always ask you back, if you've done the funeral for Mum and Dad passed away, they'd say, can Roy come back? And the answer is, you need to move away and let the new people take over and get to know the residents, which we did. And we came to the Elms, and we just absolutely love it.
So did you have kind of like a tick list that you were looking at? Because we were saying you went from
a three-bedroomed bricks and mortar house with a fabulous view, water at the bottom, lots of wildlife in the garden. But when we decided to move, or thought about moving park homes, I did a stupid thing. I put a tick list in every room, and every time I went into it, I just ticked it to see how many times I did go into rooms I probably wouldn't have if I moved into a park home.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it was quite good, because you really only use your bedroom, your kitchen and your living room when there's two of you living in a big house. So, you know, that was one of the things. Lots of people said, don't move out of bricks and mortar. And I can understand it to a point, but why? Why not move into a lovely, well-insulated, comfortable home that you can clean really easily? I can clean my home in an hour and a half, and that's giving it a good do. Some weeks I don't bother much at all. But that's beside it.
And it's I presume it's the setting, like you were saying, it's the and the atmosphere and everything that you've got within that, not just the structure. Because I think we're taught when we're kids, and as you grow up, you've got to invest, you've got to invest, you've got to invest, you've got to invest. So we're so programmed into thinking you've got to have bricks and mortar, you know, it's your greatest asset and all that sort of thing. But then there comes a point in your life when you can cash that in and cash it in for a lifestyle.
And we've cashed in for the lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that we love because we meet lots of people, but you can live on the Elms and just be very private if you want, because The lovely thing about it is we have our own garden, our own space, and you can do that and be in there on your own if you want to be. But if you want to be out, there's lots of groups, there's walking groups, there's history groups, there's gardening groups. You don't have to be a great gardener to go to a gardening group. There's lovely walks that you can do. You can just sit on the canal and drown maggots like my husband does. He doesn't catch many fish, but he drowns a lot of maggots. But it's still something quite interesting to do. And just to walk along the bank and watch the wildlife is lovely.
Yeah.
And we've got the woodland walk. Recently I had to have a new knee. Don't advise it, but still had a new knee. And the walk there is you can walk out, and when you're halfway round, you're also halfway back. So you sort of feel that you're safety.
And we've got a bench near the Bug Hotel now.
And we've got a hotel now, so guess if you've got a spare cockroach or something, just bring it along.
And that then brings us into talking a bit about the minibus, because you're very involved in that. So is
Very
that
involved.
something you expected you would be doing in your retirement years?
Never in my life did I think I'd be driving a minibus, and never in my life did I think I'd be trying to park it in a small space in Morrison's or somewhere. But I just love the idea of the minibus. The minibus is not owned by the management of the Elms. It is owned by its residents. It's owned by everybody, but it is managed by a management committee, which is obviously volunteers. None of us get paid for it, but once you get into the minibus, you realise what a lifeline it is for people. It gets people to the shops. It goes out on day trips. And it's not just for the people that can't actually drive or get out. It might be for somebody that's maybe just thinks, I'd like a day out in Skegness and I don't want to drive there. So you book yourself on the minibus. It might be for somebody that's had an operation that means they can't drive for 6 weeks, or they've got a foot operation where they can't use a clutch or anything. So you can get on the minibus and go to the shops. We have a great time. Some people just get on to go for a coffee. That's absolutely fine. The nice thing about the minibus is not only will it take you to supermarkets, it will also bring you back to your own door, and we help you get your shopping off. It is a good thing.
It's an awesome thing, and you do a good job. And we've got the mini gala day.
Yeah, we started that last year, and it's about being able to raise money to make sure we keep the the costs at a level that's reasonably priced so that everyone can use it. It's a brilliant day, and I hope everybody that's out there that's listening will come to it and support us. It's a day where you get to know the people that drive, you get to know about the minibus, and you get to know just lots of things about the Elms. You can catch up on all the gossip. It's brilliant. And Tracy will be doing a photo booth with her dear friend Emma, and they'll then put them on Facebook, will you?
Yes, absolutely. And what we should do is maybe get some montages done of the ones we did last time, as well as for the RAF Military Fitness Day.
Of course,
that's still on the to-do list. So thinking about your move and what the things that you were looking for, was there anything that was a block, a barrier perhaps to you coming here that you
I mean, I think I'd always had pets, and the fact that it is a pet-free park was something I really had to think about. But on the whole, I'm quite happy because a pet brings a lot of responsibility. It's a big tie. Now Roy and I can go off when we want. We don't have to worry about who's going to look after the dog or the cat or anything. So I knew what we were letting ourselves in for. We read all the rules. I mean, obviously there are rules, and you read them and you know about them. And we decided that it was time for us to say no more pets. And so we don't. So what did I do? I got my husband and I a job, and we go off and homesit, and we look after pets here and
It's
there.
a really good way of balancing it, isn't it?
And besides which, with the amount of rabbits in the garden, who needs pets? They pop in and out, or you get the odd hare, you get the odd blackbird or crow or owl, you get all sorts of things.
Absolutely. So we were talking before about running costs.
Yes.
You said your husband had done some spreadsheets.
My husband's lovely. He's not mean. It sounds as though he is, but he just likes to know what things cost, and I think that's brilliant. Except when I buy a new dress, which I hang at the back of the wardrobe and say I've had for years. But he's done me a layout of what we got, and this is for the years 17 and 18, not one for each year. And we've worked out that on an average we use about 8 to 9 bottles of gas a year. So that's bearing in mind that in 18 we had all that snow. It was a really cold year.
Yeah.
We keep it at about 20 degrees. Sometimes it goes up to 21, but on the whole, we just keep warm. But I wouldn't say it's on 24/7. It just keeps warm. And with the electricity, the gas, the water, an average that we spend a month is £100 on those. That's all year round. So it's really much more economical than bricks and mortar. We find it heats up very quickly. You can turn it up and then you think, turn that down a bit. And it's just a brilliant way to live.
Yeah. And so what do you think then about the management of the Elms?
Well, it was one of the reasons why we came to the Elms in the first place, because it was family run. We liked that idea. We didn't like the idea of a big corporation running parks that didn't really care about people. And we sort of looked into it. We thought, if families have run it for as many years as you have, and obviously your father started it and was a founder member of it, it's got to be good. And when you came and met the people and you saw everything, you realised that it was going to stay. And I'm 99% sure it gives you the confidence to want to live here. And that was another one of the reasons that we chose it, apart from its beautiful setting and the way it's been kept.
And we're on site all the time, so if there's ever anything you need to ask, you just come up.
You just come in the office and they go, "Oh God, it's Sue," and you ask a question, and that's fine.
That's good.
It's brilliant.
So what else can we talk about? Have you said everything on your list there? Come on, Emma, what have we missed?
Let me just have a quick think. All I can say, if there's anybody that's out there watching this and they think, I don't know, why not come and just have a look? That's what we did. We came and had a look and we just fell in love. And hopefully you'll do the same. And you've got Tracy, you've got all the management team. You can ask any question that you want to. And if not, pop and see me. I'll always answer them.
Absolutely. And that is what we often say, is if because it is different to what, and I think not every park's the same. There's all different types. There's some that are more family orientated and have a lot more activities and things, which, as you said, we're not. We tend to be a little bit more the peace and quiet, although there is lots of things going on. But to just have a go, just come and have a look and just see, because we've always said, once you get here, you can see. It's so hard to package it up in a picture or even in videos, you know, to what it is that it's like here. So
the first gentleman I ever met when I came here, we were walking down the tree line drive going down to the lake. I like to tell people, come down the tree line drive to the lake. He said to me, we said to him, you know, what's it like? You asking all the questions. And he says, well, the only problem is I've had to go to the doctors. And we said, oh dear, why? He says, because everybody waves to you. He says, got a really funny elbow now from waving. So I didn't think that was not a bad thing. So you know, I'm all in favour, and people do wave to you. People will speak to you. But as I say, if you want to be private, that's fine. You can be. But on the whole, everybody's very friendly.
And are there any regrets? You know, you can be honest. Is there anything you think, well,
there's only one thing I never thought I would ever do in the whole of my life, and that is dust the outside of my house. And for some reason, and we don't get spiders in the house at all. In fact, I very rarely see a spider, but we do get cobwebs. And I have no idea where they come from.
Ninja spiders that come out at night.
But I now possess a very beautiful, bright blue, big-headed spider brush, and I stand there and go around and dust my house. Although sometimes my neighbour will ring you up and say, do you realise how many spiders webs you've got on your house, especially when it's frosty? But I try to ignore it, because on the whole, cleaning a home is really quite quick, an hour and a half, and you can do the lot.
Oh, that's good. Look, we've got Lynn on saying, hello, the walks are lovely here on the park. Ladies will feel safe walking on their own. Exactly. That's a good point, isn't it? And the park is a big attraction for moving here.
I think the safety aspect is brilliant.
Yeah, it's interesting, because although we don't sort of particularly do anything other than we've got the barrier, obviously we've got the barrier at the top, and the layout of the park, there's no sort of, other than the little cut through down to the lake, there's no back alleys or anything like that. So it's, although each road is a dead end cul-de-sac, so again you haven't got people trundling down your road looking, because people have to come into the office generally to be asked, they ask directions where to go. So generally speaking, we know who's on the park. It just is. It does have that safe,
fun.
secure feel about it, doesn't it? And people say they hear the barrier go down and like, oh, I'm at home.
And all my friends that said we were silly, I mean, a lot of them were in banking and different things, and they said, oh, you know, bricks. Once they've come and they've sat there and they've sat in the garden, and the peace and quiet is just unbelievable. They said we would come ourselves, but obviously not in a lucky situation to have grandchildren. But if you've got other family commitments, you probably can't move this sort of distance. But it is good, and the walks through are brilliant. Yeah.
And we tell our family and friends about how reasonable the living costs here are on the Elms. No standing charges, no direct debits, but we're very cosy in the winter. Oh, that's good.
That's good.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's true.
Which is what you were saying.
It's true. Yeah. It is. Cool. You can be nice and cosy, and yet it's just the atmosphere outside of it that makes it for me as well. It's not just the inside. It's brilliant.
Cool. So, can you think of any more questions we can ask, Emma? We've covered everything on our list. Yeah.
Have I covered everything on my list?
We're about, 15 minutes in. So
I have one wish, just one wish that I wished I'd done.
Oh no.
And that is that I wished I'd come 2 years earlier. Hey. I could have done, but I didn't. And I do regret it, because it is brilliant. So,
Tracy, thank you very much.
Thanks for all you do for us.
I'm going to get a hug in a minute.
She's a hugger. I'm a hugger. I'm afraid if you come on my minibus, you get a hug, because I am a hugger. But it's been fascinating.
Well, thank you very, very much for coming in, so giving up your time, and thank you to those that are watching now and later on. And we don't know what we're doing next time, do we? Yes. Emma's over the other side, so we will be posting that up later if you want to tune in later on to see what we'll be doing next time.
I just hope you'll be doing a section on the Gala Day,
which
is on the 21st of August. On the park.
Big plug.
Anybody got anything for tombola that they'd like to donate? Just let me know.
Raffle
no
prizes.
Problem. Bring it into the office. No problem. Come and have fun.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.